From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Steve Miller reporting. The White House was in crisis mode yet again on Tuesday after reports emerged claiming that President Donald Trump asked former FBI Director James Comey to end an investigation into Trump's ousted National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, and his ties to Russia. The administration statement said the reports aren't true, but the claims raise new concerns that Trump was attempting to obstruct an investigation that Comey had been leading into whether the Trump campaign colluded with Moscow to influence the 2016 presidential election. Representative Adam Schiff, the Democratic Party's ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, said if true, it would be a troubling and disturbing allegation, and said it was time to hear from Comey.
I think we know enough now. There's been enough alleged publicly to want to bring the director back to testify, ideally in open session, either before our committee or the Judiciary Committee, but he should come back to the Congress.
White House officials have stressed that the Russia probe had nothing to do with Trump's firing of Comey, although Trump himself has suggested in interviews that it was at least partly a motivation. U.S. President Donald Trump defended his decision to share information about terrorism with Russian diplomats last week via Twitter. However, Mark Warner, the Senate Intelligence Committee's top Democrat, says,
there are a whole host of issues here, both legal, strategic, trust of allies, trust of our intelligence community.
The New York Times Tuesday reported that the source of the information shared was Israel. Ron Dermer, Israel's ambassador to the United States, said in a statement he expressed satisfaction with his country's ties with the United States. For more news around the clock, visit voanews.com. This is VOA. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley led a UN Security Council meeting behind closed doors Tuesday. Before beginning the session, she spoke with reporters. VOA's Margaret Bashir was at the United Nations.
Haley spoke to reporters ahead of a closed meeting of the UN Security Council called by the U.S., Japan, and South Korea to discuss Pyongyang's May 14th ballistic missile launch.
You either support North Korea or you support us, because that's what it comes down to.
She warned that nations must enforce existing sanctions or face consequences if they are seen to be aiding and abetting North Korea's nuclear program.
And the United States is not past looking at third country entities who are helping North Korea and putting sanctions on them. Because if you are supporting North Korea, you're against the rest of the international community.
Margaret Bashir, VOA News, the United Nations.
Haley also said talks were possible with Pyongyang, but only if North Korea halted its weapons programs. Since Friday, the WannaCry software virus that took advantage of a Microsoft Windows security flaw that has infected more than 300,000 computers in 150 countries, paralyzing factories, banks, government agencies, hospitals, and transportation systems across the globe. On Monday, analysts said that some of the code in an earlier version of the WannaCry software had also appeared in programs used by the Lazarus Group, which has been identified by some experts as a North Korea-run hacking operation. Semantic researcher Eric Chen says that while many suspect North Korea, a definitive link has not been established.
And right now, we've uncovered a couple of what we would call weak indicators or weak links between WannaCry and this group that's been previously known as Lazarus.
The countries most affected by the WannaCry to date are Russia, Taiwan, Ukraine, and India, according to a Czech security firm. Reuters reports the European Union will launch legal action against Italy on Wednesday for failing to police allegations of emissions test cheating by Fiat Chrysler following the Volkswagen Dieselgate scandal. The notice is the first step in EU infringement procedures designed to ensure member states abide by EU-wide regulations. If member states fail to respond, Brussels can take them to the EU court in Luxembourg. The United Nations Human Rights Chief says that fresh fighting in the Central African Republic should set off loud alarm bells. More than 100 people have been killed and thousands forced to flee their homes in the past week as fightings between Muslims and Christians spread. Casualties include 6 UN peacekeepers that were killed when suspected Christian militia members attacked their base in Bongasu, near the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. In Washington, I'm Steve Miller.
That's the latest world news from VOA.